All right, hello everybody. This is Mr. C of Mr. C's Homeschool Music Academy. This is your ukulele lesson, day number 3. Okay, so behind me I have two more chords that I would like to add to our little chord repertoire. Two more chords that I'm going to show you, which is the G major and the F major. Okay, so we got those two extra chords that we're going to go over. I would like to review our C major chord, however, to make sure that you guys have been practicing. So I'm going to do a quick little review. Okay, make sure that again your ukulele is nice and tuned to your G, your C, your E, and your A strings. Okay, make sure that they are tuned correctly. Actually, I'm just kind of gonna. Yeah, okay, so I'm good. I was kind of double checking to make sure if I was in tune, but yeah, okay, but you do that. You make sure that you are in tune before you start, so that this way, again, what is the purpose? Why do we need to learn? If we're learning where our finger positioning goes and such, then why doing the correct finger positioning? Well, because at the same time, it's also ear training is part of it. What you expect, what sound you expect to have when you're playing. Okay, you definitely even when you're doing the fingering, you want to make sure that the results are there correctly. So you want to make sure that your strings are in tune, even before you're doing the lesson, before you're rehearsing. Okay, that type of thing. This way, whatever you put in, that's what you're going to get. That's the outcome. It's what you get to expect. If you don't tune your strings, my students, if you don't tune your strings, then you're definitely not going to. You're not going to know what to expect. You got your finger in position, and then it'll just be more confusing than anything else. Okay, and that's the last thing we want to do when it comes to music. We want to be always knowing expecting what to get out of whatever we're doing musically. It's like science, really. Music is science. Whatever you put in, that's the result you expect to get. Okay, we're dealing with facts here, and music is very much a study. It is pretty much a study of science. We're dealing with sound here. So that's the idea when it comes to this. Okay, so again, make sure your strings are tuned. Okay, to your G, C, E, and A. Okay, and also make sure when you're handling it, you're grabbing it by the neck, just like you're doing posture. Okay, let's do this. Okay, make sure that our posture is correct, shoulders relaxed. When I say posture, I mean back straight. Okay, it's always a good idea. I think I've said it before already, to have a good stool, a piano bench, a chair, but without arms. Okay, something that doesn't get in the way, so that your posture always stays intact, and your technique will also be intact as well. Okay, so let's take a look, everybody. Here we go. Go right to your ring finger. You're going to use your ring finger, your left ring finger, of course. You're grabbing it with you're cradling the body, having your pick in hand as well, pointy side facing the strings over here. Okay, we're going to use a lot of wrist action when it comes to that. And where does your C major chord? Remember our C major chord? We go right over here to the A string. Okay, and your ring finger presses down on the A string between the second and third fret. Okay, how do we know this is second and third fret? How do we know that? Remember, this is the nut. First fret, second fret, third fret. That's how that works, okay? So between the second and third fret, your ring finger is going to go right there. Make sure your thumb is behind the neck. Your wrist is giving enough leverage on that string, so that you're pointing your wrist, you're bending your wrist this way, okay? So much so that when you're pressing down on any strings, when we do the rest of these chords, when you're pressing down on those strings should be touching the fretboard. Okay, that's how hard you need to be pressing it, and using, of course, the tip of your fingers, the tip before the nail, not underneath the nail, but before the nail. Okay, which, by the way, this kind of reminds me, I'm gonna need to clip my nails. I mean, you might look at these and think, oh, they're not that long. I like to keep them nice and short. Okay, I think I've even said this before. When you're doing string instruments, guitar, ukulele, anything string instruments, it's always a good idea to keep them. I suggest anyway. It's not impossible to play string instruments with long nails, but it definitely makes it easier. I know that it makes it easier when your nails are on the short side, because then the tips of your fingers are more exposed and can be very exact. When you have longer nails going past the tips of your finger, sometimes, technique wise, when you're trying to press on certain strings and to be exact, sometimes that actually hinders the ability, it might muffle the notes, you might, or mute them in some way. It's definitely harder to stay on technique when you have longer nails, but not impossible. So I've seen string instrument players that still had long nails and still managed to, sometimes it's the way the fingers are, their fingers are shaped. They tend to find a way to be exact with every string that they fret on that fretboard and still can play very well. Okay, I would imagine it takes a greater amount of control over their appendages and things like that, but otherwise they're still able to do it. So when I make the suggestion, it's not like a law. You have to cut your nails, okay? But just I'm saying it from my experience. From my experience, it's always better to have your nails on the short side, okay? And so that, because that's how I have greater control. I suggest that I'm firm on that suggestion. But at the same time, again, I've seen string instrumentalists play with long nails as well. Okay, so I've seen that happen. But in any event, here we go. Let's do our C major chord. That's the only one note we're fretting right there. Okay, so remember, sit up nice and straight. Okay, we're gonna do our strum pattern. Down 4, up 4, down 2, up 2. Here we go on my count. Ready, guys? And go. 1, 2, ready. Let's play. Down 4 and down 2, 3, 4. Up 4 and up 2, 3, 4. Down 2, down 2 and up 2, up 2 and off. And see how I mute my strings right away when I'm done. I just place them really gently on there so that I can mute the strings, could stop them from resonating. Okay, but that's what you guys should have been doing last week, through this week. Okay, every day, 10 times a day. Remember, that's our regimen, 10 times a day, doing that C major chord. Okay, so that's how it should sound. Pretty easy enough. Okay, but now we're going to involve, again, our other 2 chords, which involves multiple fingers now. Okay, so let's take a good look. Let's take a good look at what we're supposed to do. Again, I have it posted again, our strum pattern, so that we remember we are going down 4, up 4, down 2, up 2. We're going to apply that to these other 2 chords as well. Let's go right to the G major chord, okay? Our G major chord, which I'm going to write this down, by the way. I'll write this down. It's important for us to know. I forgot to mention this. But our G major chord will also be known as our 5, Roman numeral 5. It's a Roman numeral, okay? Our 5 major chord, okay? So it's also known as our 5. And then we also have our F major chord, which I'm going to write a 4, a Roman numeral 4 major chord, okay? I say major. We know it's major, okay? Not just because I said, put G major there, but because the Roman numerals are also in sort of an uppercase type of way. If I wanted to say minor, for example, okay, if I wanted to say a minor, I would have had the V more like a lowercase. Okay, I would have had that to indicate that it's more of a minor chord than that it would be a minor chord instead of a major chord. Okay, that's just FYI. But because these Roman numerals are uppercase, so to speak, okay, and I say that, I do that in quotes because, as we know, if we've done Roman numerals in elementary school, okay, I know I did it. I learned about Roman numerals in elementary school math. Okay, then we learned that all Roman numerals just look like this. They have the lines across like that. I actually don't like the way I wrote my 5 major. I don't like the way it looks, very sloppy. So I'm going to fix that. Okay. There we go. It's a little better. Okay, I don't know. I get very technical about my penmanship. I don't know why. Okay, it was one of those things that bothered me. But anyway, in any event, that is our 5 major chord. This is our 4 major chord. Okay, why do I put 4? Okay, and in actuality, by the way, When in terms of C major, I'm just going to write that down. C major. Okay, that would then also be, just for our information, for our purposes, that would be a 1 major. Okay, now why? Because we're assuming that we're playing in the key of C, like the C major scale that you guys have learned on the ukulele. Okay, day 2. No, not day 2, but we've learned the C major. Wait, did we? Okay, I don't think I've taught you that yet. I'm not entirely sure that. Oh yes, I think day one. Sorry, we've learned the C major scale. I'm losing track. Okay, but we've learned the C major scale. Okay. And in the C major scale, why do they call it the C major scale? Because it actually starts on C. Okay, when we've learned the C major scale, we went C, D, E, F, G. It's the root of the entire scale, starts on C, it ends on high C, and then goes back to low C, right? Okay, so when it comes to this chord, and what we're developing here really is a chord pattern. Everybody say that, chord pattern. What we're developing here is our chord pattern, and our C major chord that we've learned, right? We call it a C major because it's aptly named by the root of the chord, which involves C, E, and G. Okay, I'm going to write that down. Okay, so C, E, and G, kind of being played all at once. It's being played all at the same time. Okay, so we're going by this understanding that we're in the C major scale when it comes to the chord pattern, going from 1 to the 5 to the 4. Now, why is this called a 5? Because in the C major scale, right? C being the first note, the root note, the very first note. When you go up 5 steps, C, D, E, F, and G. Okay, how many we got there? 5. So in other words, your G note is actually the 5th note of your C scale. Okay, and then what did I say before? I mentioned F, right? C, D, E, F. F, there's 4. This is our 4th note. F is the 4th note in the C major scale. Okay, but then we call the actual chord a G major because the chord is built on G, and it actually involves having G, B, and D being played at the same time. G, B, and D stacked up on top of each other. Just like the C major chord, where it involves C, E, and G, the G major chord, the 5th note of our C major scale, involves G, B, and D being stacked up on top. And the root of that chord is your G, which is why they call it a G major chord. But it also happens to be the 5 major, Roman numeral 5 major chord, because it's the 5th note in the C scale. All right, and then same thing, the F, 4th note in the C major scale, but this F major chord is built on the root of F, and so then you would pile F, A on top of that, and C on top of that. Okay, so it goes F, A, and C. That's the idea, F, A, C. So that chord is built on F, which is why they call it the F major chord. But it's also known as the 4 major chord because it's the 4th note from your C major scale. Okay, does that make sense? All right. So review the other videos in case you're not entirely sure. Okay, but that's what I'm talking about. When it comes to the C major scale, we have our 1 chord, our 1 major scale, which is C major, C, E, G. Then we're going to go right to our G major chord, our 5 major chord, okay? 5th note of the scale, built on G, G, B, and D, and then our 4 major chord, F major, built on F, F, A, and C, okay? And those 3 notes, okay? And that's what constitutes a chord, guys, having those 3 notes being played at the same time, all right? So now, let's learn our G major chord. Let's go right to our G major chord. Take a look at the ukulele tab. This over here represents the nut, which is this on the ukulele. Okay, then you have your 1st fret, 2nd fret, line going across. Okay, and your 3rd fret, line going across over here at the bottom where I'm pointing. Okay, so nut, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Okay, then of course the lines going down, the lines that are vertical, represent the strings, the 4 strings of the instrument, G, C, E, and A, okay? So when we're holding our ukulele, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to bring our index finger, according to this ukulele tab for G major, you're going to bring your index finger, left index finger, between the first and second frets of your C string, okay? That's the first and second fret of your C string, okay? And so let's do that together. So here's my index, okay, holding this, right? We go to the first and second fret of your C string, right? This is G, this is C, okay? And then you're going to take your index finger and you're going to pick that string, okay? Make sure, again, you're pressing firmly, wrist is bent, okay? Pressing firmly the string with your index fingertip onto the fretboard, and you're going to pick that, okay? Okay, so that note, okay, that is actually your D, right? That's your D note. Okay, so that's part of the chord, right? G, B, and D. So far, we're playing our D note. Okay, and so now after that, you're going to take your middle finger and you're going to place it also between first and second fret, but on your A string. Take a look at the A string. That's the one on the bottom there. Okay, so while you're holding your D note in the C string, you're also taking your middle finger, putting it on your A string. That's going to be your B note. Okay, everybody pick that string right now with your pick and go. That's the way it should sound like. That is your B. Okay. Okay, then after that, you're going to take your ring finger. Okay, this was on the middle finger again, between first and second fret on your A string. Okay, there we go. We have those two fingers, index, middle. Ring finger now is going to go onto your E string. Okay, that's the third one between your second and third fret. So ring finger is going to go right there while you still, again, have your index, middle placed. Okay, so those three fingers, okay, that's what we have over here on the ukulele tab. Second and third fret on the E string, your ring finger goes there, okay? So when you place it on there and you pick that particular string, that E string, that's going to be your G note. Okay, and so when you take all their strings, by the way, I'm just going to indicate one little other thing on our ukulele tab. I'm gonna put a little O there, okay, on our G string, because that is an open string. In other words, we're fretting these, okay, but we're going to play the G string as well. That is an open string, which again is part of our chord, G, B, and D, where we play our D note here, our B note over here, and our other G note right there. So G and G, we're playing both because it's still part of the chord, okay? Yeah, there's two G's that we're playing, but that's okay. Again, it's all part of the chord, so it involves, again, the notes G, B, and D, all right? And I'm just going to make a little indication of open strings as well on my F major, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Okay? All right. So let's get right to it. Once again, let's place our fingers again, okay? Index finger on your C string for your D note between first and second fret, right there. See it? Everybody place it on there. And everybody then take your middle finger, go right to your A string, which is the one on the bottom between first and second fret, okay? While you have your index finger placed, place your middle finger right there on that string, A string, first and second fret, and then with your ring finger, go to your E string between second and third fret, okay? So let me point it, second and third fret, place your ring finger on your E string. Make sure you have all three strings held down, okay? Wrist bent, thumb behind the neck for support, and you're going to give me one strum down. Everybody give me one strum down. Should sound like this. Everybody do that and go. All right, now follow the strum pattern, everybody. Let's do our strum pattern. Down 4, up 4, down 2, up 2. Here we go with our G major chord. Here we go. And 1, 2, ready, let's play it. And down 2, 3, 4, and up 4. Up 2, 3, 4, down 2, down two, and up two, up, two, and off. Okay, and that was our G major chord. Hey guys, shake your hand out a little bit. That's probably okay. Those strings digging into your fingers, or I should say your fingers digging into the strings. Okay, either way, yeah, you'll see those little indents. Okay, but it's all to make your fingers stronger. Okay, more playing on your dexterity there. Okay, shake it out a little bit. Touch those fingertips. Okay. And let's start again, okay? So let's go right now. That was our G major chord, our 5 major. Let's go right to our F major chord now, okay? Our 4 major. We only have to worry about using 2 fingers, our index and our middle, okay? Your C string is an open string, so we don't have to fret that. Take a look at the little circle there, again, standing for open string, okay? Just like I did over here in the G string. And then our A string is also an open string. We have our C string and A string both open. Why? Because in our F major chord, A and C is part of the chord. So naturally, those strings are already tuned to C and A. We just keep them open. We're going to strum those. But we're going to take our index finger first, go right between the nut and the first fret. Your index finger is going to go on your E string between nut and first fret. So what does that look like? Everybody take a look. Here's your E string, okay? E is not part of the F major chord, so right away we're going to take our index, place it between the nut and the first fret on the E string, press hard, okay? Should sound like this, okay? And that is your F. So when we play that, that's an F note, which is the root of the F major chord, right? That is the root note of the F major chord. But then, after that, look at our ukulele tab. We're going to take our middle finger, go right to our G string, pressing down. That's where the dot is, between the first and the second fret. Pressing down on the G string. And when we do that, take a look. Here's the G string, right? This is the top one, okay? Take your middle finger, go between your first and second fret on the G string, and boom, there it is. That's where it should be. And when we play that note, that is your A note. That is an A note, which again is also part of our F major chord, F, A, and C, right? So you have your F and your A note, okay, while you keep your C string open and your A string open, another A, the high A. Okay, so that is your F, A, and C, your F major chord. Everybody give me one strum. Watch this. Should sound just like that. Everybody play it one strum down and go. Good, okay, great job. Now keep it there and let's do our strum pattern. Down 4, up 4, down 2, up 2. Ready? And on my count. 1, 2, and ready. Let's play it. And down 2, 3, 4, and up 4, up 2, 3, 4, down 2, down 2, and up 2, up 2, and off. Okay, see that? That is how we play our F major chord with the strum pattern, okay? Now, let's put this whole concept together, okay? Before I mention the words chord pattern, right? Okay, what are we really doing, okay? What we're doing is we're taking these few chords that we've learned so far, and we're going to go by a certain pattern. In other words, we're going to play it in order. We're going to play our C major chord first, go right to our G major chord, go to our F major chord, and then go right back to C major chord. So we go C major, G major, F major, back to C major, utilizing the strum pattern, playing the strum pattern for each. But we're not going to pause in between the chords. We're not going to do that. For when we start learning it first, we're going to pause in between. But your goal now, okay, this is what your practice is going to involve throughout the week. You're going to attempt to be able to stay on tempo. Okay, stay on tempo, right? A moderate tempo, and you don't have to go very fast. Okay, you can go nice and slow if you need to, and then after a while, when you're used to playing it slow, then you can increase in speed. But the idea is to be able to get to C major, G major, F major, immediately back to C major without stopping until you finish that, okay? What's the regimen? 10 times per day. You're going to do this over and over 10 times a day. So just so I can show you what your goal is, this is exactly what you need to be doing. So I start on the C major chord, okay? When you practice on your own, you want to give yourself a nice tempo, okay? So you just, a slow tempo that's comfortable for you. So you would go one, I'll do it this way. 1, 2, and ready. Here's my C major, and down, 2, 3, 4, and up, 4, up, 2, 3, 4, down, 2, and down, 2, and up, 2, up, 2. Now here comes my G major, down, 2, 3, 4, and up, 2, 3, 4, down, 2, down, 2, and up, 2, up, 2. Now here comes F major, 2, 3, 4, and up, 4, up, 2, 3, 4, down, 2, and down, 2, and up, 2, up, 2, and back to C major, down, 2, 3, 4, up, 4, and up, 2, 3, 4, down, 2, and down, 2, and up, 2, up, 2, and done. Okay, so you see what I did. Basically, I played this chord pattern, a pretty standard chord pattern from 1, 5, 4 back to 1. I pretty much played that because that is the basis for a lot of songs, okay? For a lot of songs, okay? When you accompany somebody singing or what have you, okay? That 1, 5, 4 movement, okay, in any key. We happen to be in the C major scale, okay, in the key of C, okay? But you could be in the key of D, in the key of E, the key of B flat, the key of F sharp. You could be in a different key and still follow a pattern where it goes from your 1 major chord, your 5 major chord, your 4 major chord, and back to 1. And sometimes you can even do it in reverse. You can go 1, 4, 5, 1, okay? Or 5, 1, 5, 4, and then 5 back to 1. You know, you could do a lot of stuff like that, okay? But in other words, okay, this is a pretty standard pattern, okay, which many songs are played through, okay? That's how this works. So we start off very simply just doing a pattern of in this particular order, going from your C major to your G major to your F major, and then back to your C major. Playing in strum pattern form, okay? Doing it as a strum pattern all the way through. You want to do this 10 times. Now, here's the thing. You're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes. That's part of the practice, okay? You're going to find yourself going from your C major down, 2, 3, and then you do the whole pattern, and then you're going to have to place your fingers just so for your G major chord, and then, okay? The goal, again, is to be able to get from C to G to F back to C, okay? That's the idea while you're doing a strum pattern, okay? Again, as you're doing this, adjust. If you're not getting the right sound, make sure you're, pressing down hard. You're bending that wrist to give you leverage over the string, and you're making sure that string is touching the fretboard, okay? As you play, keep a good steady rhythm. When you're doing the tempo, you're counting yourself 1, 2, and look, using that wrist action, okay? No, it's not necessary for you to, okay, or to dig in the strings. No, just, okay? You can just do that, and you're going to be just fine. Keeping a good amount of control when you're using that wrist action, okay? Tap your foot too, just to keep tempo, okay? Counting, there's counting involved, okay? That is how you stay in practice, and that's how you stay in control of when you're transitioning from chord to chord and so on and so forth, okay? So let's do it one time. You and I, okay? Both of us, let's do it together, okay? And we're going to take it even slower than what I did it before. We're going to take a nice slow tempo, okay? But the goal is to get from C to G to F back to C without stopping until, of course, you finish There, okay? So here we go. Start with your C. Everybody get ready. Here we go. C major chord, as you remember, second and third fret on your C, on your your A string. Here's our C major chord, and on my count, take it nice and slow. Strum pattern all the way through all those chords. Here we go. 1, 2, and ready. Let's play it. Here we go, and down. 2, 3, 4, up 4 and up. 2, 3, 4, down 2 and down. 2 and up 2, up 2. Now go right for your G major chord, index, middle, ring finger, just like so, and go down. 2, 3, 4 and up 4, up. 2, 3, 4, down 2, down. 2 and up 2, up. 2, good. Now go right to your F major, index between nut and first fret on your E string, middle between second and third fret on your G string, just those 2 fingers, strum everything and go down. 2, 3, 4 and up 4, up. 2, 3, 4, down 2, down. 2 and up 2, up. 2. Now back to C major chord, just the ring finger, second and third fret on your A string, and go down. 2, 3, 4 and up 4, up. 2, 3, 4, down 2 and down. 2 and up 2, up. 2 and off. Okay, so you see what I did? Okay, I know I wasn't very detailed just now as we were doing it slow with our G chord. Remember, G major chord. You take your index, go on your C string between first and second fret. C string right there. Your middle finger should go on your A string between first and second fret, which is at the bottom there, okay? And your ring finger between second and third fret on your E string, okay? Those 3 notes, and boom, that's your G major chord, okay? So if you're not entirely sure, again, everything that you just did, okay, and you're having some trouble, yeah, this is what rehearsal is all about. First of all, my students, is going to be a practice sheet, a practice chart on our dashboard. So make sure that you're looking for that, on the lookout for that, so you have that visual reference. Plus, link is provided to go right back to this video, replay this video, eyes on everything that I have here. Everything that I have here is also going to be on the practice chart, okay? It's gonna be there, okay? But you have the video to kind of go through the motions and what we've been doing and play through it, okay? And play through it again, 10 times a day. Practice this, your C major to G major to F major and back to C major, okay, to develop continuity, okay, tempo, and of course, dexterity, you know, in your fingers, okay? Practice this 10 times a day, no more, no less, okay? That's how it should go, and you'll see your progress starting to happen, okay? By the way, I forgot to mention, you know, if you had any questions, you could always type it in the chat, okay, in the chat box, or type it in later, okay? Ask me questions regarding what you're not sure of when it comes to the ukulele, okay? Otherwise, everybody, we did it. Great job, everybody. Give yourselves a nice little round of applause. You can put your ukuleles down, okay, making sure you're grabbing it by the neck, of course, okay? And great job, everybody. You did a fantastic job. Make sure that, you practice this consecutively every day, 10 times per day. Okay, you will definitely see a wonderful progress happen. So, as always, my friends, I wish you happy practicing. Everybody take care of yourselves and have a great day. Bye-bye.